fuck, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.
Oh, we've hit some water. I am in the beautiful Glasshouse Mountains National Park. Just heading out for a little arvo stroll. This track at the moment, it's a fire trail. For this part, it's all clay, and it bucketed down yesterday, so it gets a little bit slippery. So just paying attention to what's going on. But as I do, as I start walking, I can just have all the thoughts, all the ideas come flooding through. So just having a share. Okay, so just had to turn off the fire trail, and now heading up the goat track. All right, so this one's a good one. This one is one that, whoa, I think most people in their lives have experienced, and that is imposter syndrome. So give me a thumbs up, shout out in the comments if you have ever experienced imposter syndrome. And I think the reason why this one comes up while I'm hiking this particular track as a little thing to riff on is that this is not a long track. I mean, I've only done like 5 minutes of it, and my heart rate is, whew. This one, like, it's weird. It's one of those ones that is real. I find it really mentally challenging because I've done it lots of times. However, every single time I feel like, every single time I feel like I should be fitter. I feel like I should be able to breathe and walk. I know now I'm talking to you, but it's pretty much what I sound like every single time I do this track. Because it kind of starts out real cruisy for the first 3 minutes, and then you turn off onto the goat track and it's just like 45-degree angle plus straight up the mountain. It's probably more than 45-degree angle in all honesty. In some places it's like 90-degree angle, just straight up, which is awesome because it's an amazing workout. But far out, like the mental side of it is a bigger workout every single time, without fail, to just remind myself or talk myself through the whole, what is commonly referred to as imposter syndrome. You know, where that voice in your head just starts with all the negative shit. You're not good enough for this. You're not fit enough. You shouldn't be doing this. You call yourself a hiker. You're not a hiker. This is easy. And here you are, struggling to breathe. Glutes are on fire. Just stopping to check if the wallaby is around. No. Because there's a wallaby that hangs around in this spot. And, you know, all the voices. All the shit. Melissa Ambrosini has written a book on it called something to do with your inner mean girl. Mean girl. There's more of a name to it. I'll put it in the notes because I can't remember the rest of it. And I like to refer to my inner mean girl as Brenda. Brenda is that voice that just pipes up. Ooh. I know, just a frog. It's okay. I'm also on the lookout for snakes today, because it's been stinking hot today. And with all the rain, there will be food around for them, so yes. Anyway, back on task. So Brenda likes to pipe up and tell me all the reasons why I'm not good enough. Tell me all the reasons why I shouldn't do this. Tell me all the reasons why, you know, whatever it is in life, whatever it is I'm doing, that just, you know, fucking stop, because it's shit, really. But see, I've learned over the years that Brenda's actually full of shit. To anyone named Brenda, I do love you. This is just the name that came through for me. I don't know why. It was just when I started to give voice and acknowledge these inner mean thoughts that were coming through. This inner mean girl. Brenda. I don't know if it's maybe like, is it Beverly Hills 90210? I'm really showing my age now. But for anyone who watched that, like Brenda, you know what I'm talking about? Anyway, so just coming through with all the bitchy shit. And sometimes that also leaks out. That's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, because sometimes Brenda gets the better of me. And anyway, so back to this imposter syndrome stuff. You know, it's one of those things where we've all got it. That inner voice. Those thoughts that run through our head. And so, how I began to release and stop listening to Brenda quite so much, and even if I do, how I pull myself back from that nowadays, happened in a few different ways. One was I started to write down what those thoughts were. Those thoughts that Brenda was saying to me. What were all those things that she was saying to me that I wasn't good enough at? That made me a shit piece of human being, that, you know, telling me that I couldn't do whatever it was. What were those thoughts? Then I kind of looked at them. So I gave myself some time to do that. And then I was looking at them. Or I still do look at them. And then I asked the question, who do these belong to? Are they mine? Are they Brenda's? Or do they even belong to somebody else? Because sometimes our thoughts can belong to other people as well. And we start to take them on board as our own. So they're not actually even ours. They're not even our inner mean girl, or mean boy, or mean human, or whatever you identify with. And so just take a moment to look at these things and go, okay, who do they come from? Are they mine? No. Cool. Are they mine? Yes. Okay, also cool. Now, third thing is, let's try and get a bit further up this hill. Third thing is, are they true? Are these thoughts true? And this is where we look at past evidence. What are the things that you've actually done in your life that prove that this thought is in fact not true? Because you've already shown yourself that you've done it. Or maybe it's not the exact thing that you've done, but it's you've done a version of it. And so this thought is coming through and you're like, but hang on, remember when you already did this and it was just like a step or version of what you're in a mean person is now telling you that you can't do, or you're not good enough at, or whatever. So no, that's not true. And sometimes you might find that things are true. And that's okay too. Because then that's when you can start to look at, well, hang on. This is fear related now. This is the uncertainty. I don't know what the outcome. I can visualize an outcome. I can set a goal of an outcome. But I do not know how this is potentially going to go. So, while it may not be true, it's also at this point not false. It's simply that I do not know the answer or the outcome. Okay, so we made it to the top. I can't film and walk that last bit. I do my hands for some of it because it's a bit of rock scrambling, which is always fun. But brings me back to one of the things that I realised doing that little bit is this whole, the imposter syndrome thing, where who are we to do these things in the world? Who are we to have opinions? Who are we to go and do these things that sometimes spark the fear of fucking joy, not joy. It's a leaf, anyway. That sometimes spark the fear of God in us. And I guess I kind of come back to, especially when for me it's hiking. Well, one of the things. There are many things. It's life, we're humans. Where this imposter syndrome comes up, whether it's in the work that you do. And one of those things is comparing yourself to other people, where they're at on their journey, what they might be doing, what works for them, because, marketing messages can be very persuasive. And so that's one thing that can impact on you feeling this imposter syndrome. Another can be your own sense of self-worth as well. And so, when I think of the hiking side of things, and I go, who am I to go and do a hike? Like, am I going to be able to do that? No, you can't do that. And it's like, how quickly does your brain forget about stuff that you've done? I solo hiked the Thorsbourne Trail on Hinchinbrook Island only months ago, this year. 4 days on my own. Hadn't done an overnight walk on my own ever. Hadn't done an overnight walk with anyone else in 15 years. And the last one I did was the Inca Trail. So I had a porter who helped carry my pack, because my pack was fucking heavy. And altitude sickness is a bitch. That's not something you can train for in Australia, really. Not near where I live anyway. So yeah, that was a bit of a doozy that got thrown in there. But anyway, so side note, off tangent. But it's just how quickly our brain forgets all of that proof, all of that evidence for ourselves that we did that we did something that shows us that we can actually do it. That there's no imposter here. You can go and do these things that you want to do. And I'm sure somewhere in your lifespan, there will be some proof of you having done something similar that supports you to know that, there's still going to be a lot of fear and there's still going to be some unknowns. There always is. That's part of life. But there will be some proof there somewhere that you've got this, and that you have enough information and you know enough and you have done something that steps you towards what it is that you're aiming to do now. And imposter syndrome seems to play on that brain pattern, that ego of going straight to the default of like just not even remembering that you've actually accomplished some amazing things in your life. So how do we turn that around? How do we flip that? Let's bring something helpful to the table here, apart from naming your inner mean person, because that's super helpful, because then you can have conversations back with them. That's almost what these videos are for me. I mean, I'm an introvert. Put me in a big group of a social situation and I just shut down. Like, no, not good at it. And that's not my inner mean person. That's just like, I actually have social proof of me doing that. Small groups, manageable. Bigger groups, yeah, not so much. Put me in like a Zoom with 50 people and I can present to that. I can talk to you on screen because it's just me and my brain having a conversation, really, until people perk up at the end and ask questions. But they're not in my personal space. I've got that physical distance from them. I've got that energetic barrier to maintain my energy and keep myself centered. And that's me, and I know that. And so I work to those strengths. I work to those. I play to those. I step into my power in those. And so I can jump on here and have a chat, because it is like me having a chat with my inner Brenda, where I'm just like, you know what? This shit that you just, let's go and unpack that together, shall we? Let's go and just go, do you know what? That's actually, I call bullshit. Because of... So anyway, back to practical. What can you do to flip the story on this imposter syndrome? The view is way better this way, in all honesty. So rather than me just enjoying the view, I'm going to let you enjoy it too. Okay, practical tips for... Now we've already covered quite a few actually today. But one I want to leave you with is this. Is know and work out what is important to you. Because when you know what your values are, when you know what your boundaries are, what's important to you, what's a priority to you, it's not so easy to get swayed by this other chitter chatter and voice going on, or inner mean person, or whatever it might be. Because you stand firm and you come back to, no, this is important to me, or this is a belief of mine, or this is a boundary of mine, and I know why it is, and so I'm sticking with that, and I'm allowing it to support me to just go to this inner mean voice, which you can start to work out as well as you do those other practices that I shared earlier, like those questions to ask yourself, to go through. Who does this belong to? Is it my belief? Is it somebody else's? And as you uncover all of that, you can start to just shift and come back to your power. Come back to stand in your truth, and just run with that. And tell your inner mean person to go the F away.
Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good...
So, if you enjoyed today's topic, today's little walk with me, then I would love for you to give it a big old like and subscribe so that you can join me next time I come walking. And I would love for you to share in the comments as well how you celebrate you, because that's one of the other things with imposter syndrome, is to shift that voice, to shift those beliefs, to shift that always coming back to not remembering all the amazing, great achievements, accomplishments, ways of being in your life, celebrate, and that builds that muscle memory. So how are you going to celebrate something that you have done or been today, this week, and start to build that muscle memory for yourself? Anyway, I'm almost done. See you next time.